a specific connection with that bar, and even though it's not specific to her age, but there's a sense of belonging that she has, and she's formed a bond with that particular place. I really I could that really warmed my heart, and I could resonate with that particular sentence quite a lot. Like it, as an expat, as having somebody moved from one country to another, and then finding a sense of belonging is a true joy.
Friends, Danny J. Norwell here for this week's edition of the Snapshots of Spain book chats. And today we're going to be talking about Old Friends, which is the 5th novella in this short story collection. Later today, I'm going to be joined by special guest Usha Sitaaraam. But before I invite her on, I wanted to make sure that everybody feels like they have a sense of what this story is about and knows a little bit about the characters, whether or not you've read the novella before coming today. So I'm going to start out by sharing a reading from this story, and then Usha and I will have a conversation where we will invite your questions as well. So, as I said, this is the very beginning of the story, Old Friends. Kara is the first to arrive at Manolo's bar, her favorite spot in all of Alicante. She's been working in the city for the past 3 years as a coordinator at PEI, an American study abroad program affiliated with a local university. It took her some time to feel comfortable and find her place in Spain, but the cozy hominess of Manolo's bar has been a comfort to her ever since she happened upon it. Although the clientele tends to be twice, if not triple, her age, there's just something special about the traditional low-key bar. Of course, it had been one of the main places she wanted to share with her visitors. Although it's been 3 years since she moved to Alicante, this is her first visit from anyone other than her parents. She loved showing them around Europe for the first time and sharing her love of Spain with them, but she spent ages looking forward to having friends come. However, this past week has somehow been everything Kara had hoped for, and all of her worst nightmares wrapped into one. There's a certain distance and awkwardness permeating the group, and it's been present since her 3 best friends first arrived last Thursday. Jen, Andrea, and Lauren have been her ride or die since high school, but a lot has changed in the last 9 years. Since the last time they all lived in the same place, Lauren has pursued her dream of becoming a lawyer, her life neatly wrapped up with the bow of a prestigious law firm and a handsome boss who soon became her husband. Andrea, who Kara can only ever remember dreaming of being a wife and mother, also has had her life pretty well in order, until recently with the pending divorce from her college sweetheart, but Andrea is ever positive. It's only Jen, the wild child, who makes Kara feel she's not behind in the game of life. Jen's inability to hold a job, a relationship, or even an apartment for longer than a year without getting restless puts Kara's concerns at ease. In short, the girls have each gone on with their own separate lives, and it now seems they have grown apart in the process. It's not my fault that we ended up like this, Kara reminds herself as she taps her fingers on the table and waits for the others to arrive. Sure, she was the one who had fallen in love with Spain. She was the one who had chased that dream to work at the study abroad program in Alicante and essentially left the others behind. This week together, though, has proven that the other 3 don't seem any closer to each other for having remained in the same country. Maybe their mistake was not in growing apart, but in trying to pretend that they hadn't. As she waits, Kara twiddles with her bracelet, the one her best friends had given to her at her goodbye party 3 years before, but that none of them have seemed to notice her wearing all week. Her limbs grow heavy as she thinks, thank God I only have to endure 2 more nights before they go home, followed by an instant tightening rush of guilt. At that moment, she sees Andrea crossing the street and ambling towards the bar. Where is everyone else? Kara asks as soon as she enters. And I will leave it there. because I think just that opening really demonstrates for you um, a little bit about each of these characters and definitely the setting and the circumstances of this trip that has been planned to Alicante, Spain, for these girls to be reunited, and as you can tell, for those expectations to really not be met. And I think that is a great opening to the different sorts of topics that I will talk about with Usha here today. So I am going to go ahead and invite her to join. And I see, Katrina, you were determined to make this one. Oh, I'm so glad you're here. Hello. I'll just wait a moment for Usha to join. But like I was saying, we are very much inviting you to join the conversation today as well. So if you have any questions about this story, about reading or writing in general, or any of the topics that come up, I think this idea of how we grow and change over the years and how sometimes that doesn't get communicated to the people closest to us um, is something that we can all relate to, whether you have any connection with Spain. I think that's a theme in many of our lives. So would love to hear your thoughts or questions or personal experiences related to those. Okay.
Oh, I'm
This
back.
perfect.
Happy Saturday.
Wonderful. It's great to see you.
Nice to see you too. I'm excited to be part of the book chat, and apologies for the tech problem. I was trying to use another device, and it's always stick to the one that you're used to.
No problem. I know exactly how it goes. Well, I just wanted to let everyone know that you were an early reader of Snapshots of Spain. And so I've been very grateful for your thoughts and your support over the years. And so it's wonderful to have you here to talk about this story today.
Yeah, thank you very much for letting me be part of this journey. And I enjoyed being part of being the early reader, being an ARC for the book. And I'm really excited to chat about old friends. And I've been following your other book chats, and it was really nice to reading, and books and book chats are my thing. So I'm always happy to join for a book chat.
Wonderful. Well, I'm glad you're enjoying it. As I understand, you have some questions for me today. So I guess we'll shoot back and forward. Did you want to go first?
Yes. My first question is, because the story is set in Alicante. Sorry if my pronunciation is not good. I wanted to understand if there's any specific reason for that, or why did you choose this specific reason for this story? That's what I wanted to understand.
Excellent. Yeah. And I've been very lucky with these guests' questions so far because I feel like in some of my other stories, for example, I don't necessarily have a reason for choosing that particular setting. And however, in this one, I do. And as I shared very briefly in my post yesterday, I studied abroad in Alicante. So this is the city of my first contact with Spain, and therefore it has a very special place in my heart. And I think I was able to very much connect with Kara in that sense, as the person who just so deeply wanted her friends to come, and she wanted to share this place that she loved so much. And I'm sure you're nodding along that you can absolutely relate to that as well.
Yeah, because I could relate to Kara quite a lot, and there were like bits and pieces where I could relate to, sometimes with Andrea, sometimes with Lauren, but I could relate totally to Kara and what she was going through.
Amazing. Oh, and I love that too, that you had these moments with a lot of the different characters, even though they're so different. I agree that there is something to connect with each one on.
Yeah, and especially for me, where the passage that you were reading about, where Kara enters, she has a specific connection with that bar, and even though it's not specific to her age, but there's a sense of belonging that she has, and she's formed a bond with that particular place. I really I could that really warmed my heart, and I could resonate with that particular sentence quite a lot. Like it, as an expat, as having somebody moved from one country to another, and then finding a sense of belonging is a true joy. And you could, like, I could see Kara's journey, like, even though it just captures that in one sentence.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, I know what you're saying. There's definitely that moment when you find that place. And I know when I was writing it, this place is not in Alicante, but where I lived in Granada for many years, I had a specific cafe bar where I knew the people who worked there and they knew me by name, and it is so special. I think anywhere you experience that, but especially when you're abroad, it hits in a special way.
Absolutely. And I actually remember when I had moved to London, and I mean, it's not like a specific, like it's not as exquisite as that place, but I remember I and one of my friends after work, we always used to go and sit at a particular spot in McDonald's, and it was kind of our own ritual, but there was a sense of, we used to find a sense of joy or like some comfort going and sitting there. And I think like that place is no longer there, but I still have very fond memories of that place. And it has like, it was a sense of where I was trying to find a sense of belonging in a new country, in a new city. So that sentence resonates with me a lot, and I'm sure it will resonate with many other readers who have moved from places and moved different countries and have had the expat journey.
I hope so, yeah. Well, speaking about things that resonate with you, I don't know if it is this in particular, if there's anything else about this story, but what would you say about old friends that did resonate and you did connect with?
So one of the things was about this Manolo bar, where she finds a comforting sense of belonging. But there was another part which I loved, is where she's preparing for her friends to come, where she's done like a detailed plan for them, and you could, like, when you go ahead in this story, you see them discussing and talking about it, like how well she has planned it, and she's made sure that her friends are going to have a good time. And I can sort of relate to that. And also, she's very eagerly waiting for her friends to come. Like there are so many times, even in the passage that you were reading, she says a couple of times, like, I've been planning this for such a long time. I've been planning this for 3 years, and I can relate to it, is because when you have 4 set of friends, to find to manage the diaries and to manage the same time and to be in one particular location is a humongous task. And then like on that top of it, you have a specific place that you want to show them. That comes across very well in the story, where she's trying to plan. And the other part I really liked is where the relationship between Kara and where she Esplanade, where she goes on a walk over there, and she has a special bond, she has a special connection with that place, and she wants to share that place with her friends. And again, to draw from my experience, I can remember so many times going to some place and experiencing it, and there'll be a thought in my mind, oh my God, it'll be so nice if I had my friends from back home, and I wish they could experience this. I could feel that sense in when she wants her friends to experience that. And the other part is the relationship between Kara and Esplanade, like how she describes that she goes there, and because she's seen so many pictures of it on social platforms, and how she experiences it is the joy. I wouldn't go on more because I would want the readers to read it, and what she sees over there and what she experiences is beautiful. That captured my heart quite a lot.
Oh, that warms my heart to hear. And I think of course, anytime you can capture an emotion like that as an author is a, a mission accomplished. But I think in this particular case, it feels extra meaningful to me because that is a place that I, like Kara, carry in my heart. And I had those same experiences. Like, I remember the first time looking in like my study abroad program and seeing the Esplanade there. And that was the one image I had of Alicante. And I was so afraid that when I went there, it was going to be like nothing, no big deal, like nothing in comparison to what I built up in my mind. And so it was really fun to kind of capture my thoughts about it, my emotions, and then to see that it's really being something that resonates for readers.
Yeah, and it's got a very it's got I think it's got a meaning in there, and I would want the readers to read it and find the meaning behind that. And like, you can experience a place and you can take pictures, but there's a whole lot going on there, and that I enjoyed quite a lot. And in the story, I could sense, like, if I draw back the connection to other stories, like versions, I sort of thought that each friend, like, obviously they're seeing each other after a long time. All of them, they want a version of themselves, and as well as a version of the other friend from a time which is gone.
Mm-hmm.
And that's captured very, very beautifully in the words, and like how what's going on in like how it alternates between all the four girls, and then it keeps coming back, and then the story comes together. That was very, very nice. So I enjoyed that part.
Amazing. I will tell you, these girls gave me a run for my money. I spent so much time reworking this story. I actually originally wrote it from beginning to end. Like, it started with a Zoom call or Skype or whatever between the four of them planning the trip, and then the girls who were on the plane, and then them arriving. And in the end, I realized that no, I want to set it in a different way and tell it in a different order. And again, it's great to hear that hit well for you, because my goodness, I struggled to convey those different versions of them. It's so true, because each of them came as the person they are today in their everyday lives. And then they kind of struggle to still fit into the version they think their friends expect, but they're upset about it and they're annoyed about it. And there's so many mixed emotions, which I think we can all relate to when reconnecting with people from our past.
Yeah, we sort of want to go back to a version that we know we ourselves are no longer that version. So that was captured very, very beautifully in the story.
Well, thank you. You guys make me feel amazing when we talk about these stories and these characters. And as I said before, if anyone has questions or their own personal experiences that they want to share, as Usha and I are talking about this, we would love to hear from you as well. I'm trying to look. Ooh, you had a heavy-hitting question for me. I remember now.
Yes. And when I was reading it, I thought it was handled really very well, and I quite enjoyed. Enjoyed is not the right word, but it was very nice to read that, and it was handled quite well, I thought. But for you to write that character, and also to obviously there's a whole lot going on over there in the character. So how did you go about that, one, forming that character and the associated challenges that obviously would have ensued, like how what you quoted in the story, and was there any research involved, or how did you go about it? That's what I wanted to understand.
Sure. So what Usha is referring to is that Kara is a biracial character. And one of the big things that comes up is this conversation between her and her white friends, trying to explain to them all of the ways that life has been different for her. And there are these different expectations put on her, and it's not fair, but she is always carrying this burden, basically, that they don't necessarily have, and they don't necessarily notice that she has to carry. And yeah, of course, we can get into a debate about if I should be writing characters like this, because I think rightfully people have different opinions. I think it's my personal opinion is that as a writer, and especially as somebody who studied sociology, it's important to me to have representation in stories, to have people of different races, different genders, different sexual orientations, different socioeconomic statuses, like any way that we can be exposed to someone who has a different background to us, I think is important. And so I see it as a responsibility as a writer to include that in our stories. With that comes a lot of pressure because you want to do it well. And like I said, I'm not a biracial person. So as you asked me, yeah, I did need to do research on this. I did need to dive into what it is this would look like and feel like for a person in Kara's position. So one of the studies I really leaned on in this case came out of Northwestern University, the Kellogg School. I found a research paper about biracial identities, and what was interesting is that they took a look at how white people view biracial people and how Black people view biracial people, and then of course how biracial people view themselves. And so that was very, very helpful for me. And I think I will say I probably wrote the conversation the way that I thought it might go first. And then I did the research. And like I said, I rewrote the story so many times, so I can't tell you how much the end conversation really reflected my original one. But I do also think something that grappling with these kind of questions helps me do, and I hope helps readers do as well, is to find the places that I can relate, and the ways that even though I don't have this, racial background, I've probably experienced something that might make me feel the same way. Like Kara talks a lot about how, I'm never white enough, but I'm never Black enough.
Yes.
Oh, and that's like a very heavy thing to carry, to feel like you never fit into one of the boxes. And sorry, just one last thing I will say, growing up, I come from a family that side of my family is Polish, one side of my family is Mexican. So the part where Kara talks about filling out demographic information on like standardized tests, I do remember that was from my childhood, being like, how am I supposed to check one box? Because I'm white, but I'm Hispanic. And they're telling me I can only check one box. And that is so confusing for a child to have to deal with.
Exactly.
So, like I said, it's not the same. I recognize that, I don't have the biracial experience, but this did offer me an opportunity to think about how can I relate to it, and therefore make it something that readers who don't necessarily have that background can also relate to, and can therefore have more empathy and understand a little better what it's like.
Yeah, totally. And I could remember from the story the dialogue that you're quoting. I'm not white enough, I'm not Black enough, and when she's filling up the form, and that, I think, for me, I thought it was handled very, very sensitively, and uh, it it was done very well. So that one of the reasons I wanted to ask was like, how did you handle that? Because I did think that those kind of conversation you need, like, you must have written it, rewritten it, and then you must have like, I just wanted to understand, like, how did it feel for you as well? Because as you say, it's a huge responsibility as well. So that was the main reason I wanted to understand. But it was handled, in my view, as a reader, when I read it, like, I'm not biracial, or but I could sense what was happening in her mind, or what she was carrying on herself, and how she's, which probably is not even, her friends don't realize what's happening to her.
Exactly. Well, thank you very much. That it means a lot to hear that, because it is, and I think this is the reason a lot of white writers don't tackle these issues, because it can be done poorly if you don't do enough research. And even when you do as much research as you can still make mistakes. It's just a reality, and so I recognize that that may happen, but it feels like a risk that is worth taking.
Yeah, it was written very well, and I could like reread and look at certain things, and some of the things stay with you for a very long time, for you to mull over and think. So I would highly recommend to read
Thank
the
you. That reminds me, I wanted to share a snippet from your review, because you said this in your review of Snapshots of Spain. There was a section where you said the characters stay with you for a very long time. Some stories made me chuckle, some made me want to take an inward journey, some had the warmth of the sunny beach, and all had the air of melancholy of cross-cultural living and the joys of multicultural life. And of course, that made me smile and feel wonderful. But I wanted to know if there's anything you wanted to elaborate on there.
Yeah, one of I wanted to touch upon, yes, the stories, there are different kind of stories. They're all set in Spain, but each story, even though it has it has different storylines, but it captures the melancholy of a cross-cultural living. And when I say that, when you move from one country and to another, it's it sort of untethers you from one particular place. So you have the sense of like you've been cut loose, but at the same time, it's very liberating. You find so many beautiful things, other cultural. You learn about other culture, and you pick up other cuisines. You pick up other languages. It makes you a better person. But for you to reach there, there is an in between that you have to cross over, and there's a bit of melancholy there. There's a bit of some work to be done, let's say that. But once you cross over that, that's very beautiful, and that's what is captured in the book very beautifully. That's what touched my heart. And the I forgot, like versions. It touches upon. It talks about a specific journey which is specific to Spain, but it captures a journey of a personal journey, but at the same time, how people are different at different stages of life. That was very beautifully captured. What becomes the truth today for you was somebody else's past yesterday, or what was your past, what's your future. What you might think that is your future is somebody's is probably still thinking about it, or they want to do something similar to that, but you might not be there actually. That was captured very beautifully in the versions, and linking it back to I can't pronounce that properly, so I'm not going to the specific journey that it talks about. that was very nice, and I was very intrigued about that particular journey, and I was looking up on that. That
Oh,
was very,
maybe you'll do the Camino de Santiago
yes,
one day.
yeah,
That would be awesome.
hopefully someday. That's the other thing is, I think I'm sure like Granddad is my favorite story. It captures the world from a little boy's eyes. Was that was very nice, I thought, and the relationship between Granddad and the little boy was very beautiful. And Maria is a brilliant story. I it when I read that, I think I must have told so many other people. Like I think I read it out to my husband, and then I read it, I think, to a couple of my friends as well. And it reminded me of another story written by Ruskin Bond. I wouldn't say what is it about, but I think it was quite brilliant, and I could even now, and you can see me smiling when I talk about it. So, but it's a beautiful story, and I think it was brilliantly handled, and it's a brilliant story, I would say.
Oh, thank you. And yeah, for anyone intrigued about these other stories Usha is mentioning, we do have book chats on all of those as well. So you can look back in the archives for more details. But this is like perfect example that what you said is true, that these characters stick with you, because I think most of these you read back in 2021, and yet they're still popping to mind for you.
Yeah, yeah. And I would always say that, or for instance, even Apart was, it captured a like couple who were separated and with whatever going on in the world, and that was handled really, really, very well. And it's a very difficult situation to be in. It's a very new situation to be in, which has not been faced before a pandemic, and that was very nice as well. Again, that has a cross-cultural bit of it, but it was handled really very well, I thought so.
Thank you.
And
Oh,
to add on just one more thing,
yeah.
I think I had read short stories after a very, very long time, so I really enjoyed reading Snapshot of Spain a lot.
Excellent. Oh, I'm glad to hear that too. Well, thank you so much, Usha. This has been a pleasure chatting with you. Before we wrap up, I did want to take an opportunity to spotlight you, because it has been a joy getting to know you. I think we met through the May on the Move
Yes,
challenge a
that's
few
correct.
years back. Yeah, and so that's amazing because that's happening again. And Usha and I are both co-hosts of the event this year,
Nice.
so you should join us. Check out the May on the Move hashtag. But my understanding is that you're also hoping to publish your own collection of short stories one of these days.
Yes. So at the moment, it's at a preliminary stage. I have set myself a goal to write a set of short stories. You've been kind enough to read a few of them and give me like your feedback and thoughts on that. And I particularly enjoy, as a person, I enjoy the small things in life, and I wanted to capture that. So the story should be to capture this joy and magic of everyday life. So that's the goal, but it's goal and it's quite at a preliminary stage. How it progresses, we'll see. And also I'm sometimes interested in flash fiction, so let's see how it goes. But I'm really, really grateful for your support, and you always encourage me, and that's I really appreciate that.
You're very welcome. I think it's been an honor for me, as you said, to be able to read some of your stories this early on, and yeah, just to be a part of your journey. It's been fantastic.
And thank you very much for that.
Oh, well, thank you. Was there anything else we didn't get to cover today?
No, I think I did. I had those questions, unless anybody else has any other questions for us.
Yeah, I don't think I saw questions coming through. I did just see someone saying that they were very intrigued to read the book, which I'm Very happy to hear, and I hope that you do check it out. You can find this story, Old Friends, as an ebook on Amazon, and all the links are here in my bio and on my website, which is just dannyjnorwell.com, as well as you can buy the full collection. I sometimes forget to say that, but that is also available. Snapshots of Spain is an option for you to purchase. And if you purchase the ebook version, you're getting a huge discount on all of the stories. So check it out.
I just wanted to add one more thing. I enjoy your writing journals as well. They're quite insightful and they're quite good. I find them quite useful, which comes from your blog.
Wonderful. Thank you. Yeah. And if anyone else is interested, be sure to sign up for my newsletter, which you can find on my website as well. You were great for promotion, Usha. Thank you. Where can people find you if they want to follow your writing journey?
At the moment, I have a blog which is it's called Kuon the Bobby. I'll drop it later on the comments. So I blog over there, and I've contributed on your other blog, which is Sincerely Spain, and I think I wrote a little piece on the Child Free magazine, the Christmas edition, and that's about it. And the journey begins from here.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much. This has really been so fun to chat with you about these stories and Old Friends specifically. Thank you for your kind words and for your time.
Thank you. It's a pleasure joining you.
Have a good weekend.
And
bye, everyone.
Bye. Bye, everyone.